Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree is worth the money, but that's about it. Let me be clear, I loved Elden Ring, and I like this game. It launched completely with dozens of hours of top-tier content and gameplay that handled like a 2006 Subway, constantly refreshing itself to challenge the player. There was always some new vista to see, some new boss to kill, or $5 footlong to try. Plus, the way its combat changed based on your weapon type, you could have completely different experiences whether you used a blood katana compared to casting. But the thing is about a $5 footlong is that it's only good when it's $5. Once it goes higher than that, you start to think, ooh, I could have gotten a biggie bag for the same amount. I need to lose weight. And that's how I feel about Shadow of the Erdtree. It's great, but for $40, it needs to be pretty much flawless. And when you read online reviewers, it sounds like it is. I mean, if you listen to them, you would think that you were gonna get more than half of the base game for this DLC that cost more than half of its price. But do you get that? For the most part, no. There's only 4 categories in which it provides more than the base game of. Remembrance bosses is 1, items that change the player character model is 2, 3 is throwing pots, and 4 is cookbooks. And I just want to keep in mind I got all this information from a random post on Reddit, but as someone who's beaten both this game and the main game, it feels pretty accurate to me. But the majority of those cookbooks contain just 1 recipe in them. So instead of cookbooks, they're more like cooked texts. And I literally just figured out throwing pots aren't a single-use item. So I can't imagine people are so excited to play a DLC that's just filled with grease and cookbooks. Again, just go to Subway. And with that, that's my last Subway joke of the day. Let's circle back to those remembrance bosses. I want to talk about spoilers for this DLC. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world when a game reuses a boss, so long as they change enough things. Did they change enough things for the final boss of this DLC? I don't really think so. And anyone who's played a FromSoft game knows they have about as much plot as modern porn. And unfortunately, they have the same family dynamics.
What are you doing, step bro?
So on the rare occasion when we actually get these compelling characters and bosses to face down, everyone gets super attached to them. They love it, just like a disabled kid who's allowed on the varsity football team. And then it's gut punching when, just like a disabled kid on the rival football team, you realize you gotta kill them. You get a badass moment where a hot chick with 1 arm threatens to kill you.
Corpse after corpse left in my wake.
Or a snake man offers to have you join his family after ripping a sword from his own throat. And there are 10 remembrance bosses within the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC, and guess how many cutscenes there are? 4. You kill princesses and scorpion demons with as little indifference as an Air Force drone pilot. I mean, who is that scorpion lady, and why is she so sad? My critics may say that I'm simply too smooth-brained and need to be spoon-fed all the lore instead of trusting From Software's beautiful show, don't tell storytelling strategy. Or correctly point out that this DLC actually contains some of the most straightforward story content in this game. But both those critics can get fucked because they're both wrong. The smooth ridges of my brain actually make me crave the spectacle of cutscenes more. I want to be attached to these characters before I kill them. Without her intro, Malenia would just be a crazy bitch in a tree. And when we're talking about straightforward quests, we are talking about the quest that forces you to go to a gate that will actually block you from content. And this is in a game where they double check the player to make sure they want to revive their mount in a situation where they'll instantly die if they don't revive their mount. And they can't put a 1-2 check just so players don't brush past content that they paid for. Come on, we can do better than that. At the same time, do any of these complaints really matter? No, because the game itself is still incredibly fun and the boss fights are still incredibly good. But is Shadow of the Erdtree as good as Blood and Wine? No. Is it as good as Festival of Blood? No. Shivering Isles? No. Phantom Liberty? No. Because Shadow of the Erdtree doesn't do anything better or anything new. Nor does it have any effect on the main game like Phantom Liberty. All those classic DLCs feel like they represent the devs at their best. This just feels like more of the same. I can say this pushes Elden Ring to have one of the best collector's editions at $60. But I can't say I wouldn't have liked a new Sekiro or Bloodborne more. With the Game Standard here at Tibbs TV, I'm Jonathan Rosenblum.